We are at the legendary Lake X by Mercury Marine, and we have something absolutely amazing that we've never done before. Come check this out. Right here in front of me, I got Ken, owner of Bluewater Boats. How you doing, sir?
Yeah.
Really excited to be here. We have two Bluewater 25s that we set up. They set up almost identically with two different power packages. We have one with twin V6 200's and one with a V10 400 on it. So we're going to learn all about the different applications, the twin setups, the single setups, fuel economy, the drag, the bow lift, every single detail using Mercury's proprietary software. It's not just us with the pad and the MFDs. So we've never been able to get this much detail, and thank you very much for working with us on this. We're really excited about it.
No, it's going to be cool. I'm excited to kind of see the actual hard numbers. I've got in my head what I think we're going to say, and I think you've got an idea. So.
An idea, I mean, because everybody has their thing. You like a single engine, you like a dual setup. I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into it way beyond just the performance of it. There's pricing, and again, you know. So before we even get into it, think about what you would prefer, and let's see if at the end of this video, you still think the same way. Let's make it happen.
Cool. All right, let's do it, Alan.
All right, so we have the Bluewater Boats 25 here. This is the one with the single V10 400 on the back. They have a 23 prop on it, 23 pitch. They're gonna drop it to a 21 to see if they get a little more mile an hour from it. Once they dial that in, that's when we'll be able to do our comparative video between this boat and the boat with the twin 200. So it should be pretty cool to see all the information that we're gonna bring to you, not only about the performance numbers, but pricing, the amount of drag that the twins provide compared to the single engine setup. A lot of stuff here that we are personally interested in learning, and hopefully you guys are as well. All right, so I want to introduce you to Andrew here from Mercury Marine. Thank you very much for being here and allowing us to do this. And this is Ken, the owner of Bluewater Boats. So exciting stuff. We've been wanting to do this sort of thing for quite some time. Obviously, we've run some performance numbers on different boats, but never to this magnitude. So it's great to be able to use some of the technology that you guys have to really be able to dial in the differences between the twin 200 boat and the V10 400. So run us through exactly what we're going to be able to see and learn today. What are we using?
Yeah, so right now we have two identical boats, both Bluewater 25s. This has twin 200s, the other has a single 400. What we're going to do is we're going to run identical boathouse bulletins. So that's what Mercury calls our performance reports. So what we have is we have twin 200s, of course. We have our GPS for high-speed logging of data, speed, pitch, roll. And then inside the console here, we're plugged into Mercury's system here, and we're going to take all of the engine parameters from both engines. So fuel flow, coolant pressure, water temp, etc. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn it on by clicking one switch. You just turn it on, and then inside this box that we have down here is a data logger. So that data logger is going to record all this data, and then we're going to run acceleration testing, wide open throttle testing, and fuel economy data. We're going to download the data, run a script, and it will output our performance report.
That's going to be awesome. So again, we'll be able to do this on both boats identically and be able to really put them side by side and go through, you know, all the different aspects. When someone's building a boat like this, I'm sure the question comes up pretty often, hey, should I go with single? Should I put twins on it? And now we'll be able to, you know, everybody's different, right? So you really can't say, hey, this is better. There's not going to be one better option.
I mean, even with all the data, I also want to get like your opinion on what you like better, because there's all the data, and then there's the feel of the boat, and you know what fits better for the person and how they like.
That's what I always tell people, that other than just looking at the data, you got to get the feel for the boat. There's running attitude, there's how it steers, turns, whatever, as well as docking. It's nice to have two engines.
Yep. So there's a lot involved with this. So yeah, we'll throw some of our personal opinions in there, but we'll have that actual data in there, which will be cool. So let's make it happen.
All right, let's go.
Cool.
So we're going to do 3 accelerations going north, 3 accelerations going south, wide open throttle north, wide open throttle south, and then fuel economies in both directions as well. Yeah, everything we do is always in both directions, because a stopwatch can lie, but the data that this is recording, it's within 1/1000th of a second.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
So that's why we do, so we start at below 1 miles an hour, and then you shift, wide open throttle, and you go all the way through to about 35 miles an hour, because we're constantly recording the data to take your accelerations from 0 to 20 and 0 to 30 with every acceleration we do. And that's how we report it out.
Interesting.
And there's no lying because the data is just being taken.
So you're not doing it twice.
You're not
because
going
it could
0
be
to 20.
inaccurate. You're just doing it twice just to have more numbers.
What do you do for like the whole shot? Is it 0 to 25
So we go,
or 0
so
to
we,
30?
So we report out 0 to 20 and 0 to 30 times,
Okay.
but we just go from 0 to 35 and it just takes the data itself.
And your computer is capturing
Our computer's
that, so
doing
it's
it all right.
accurate.
Yep. So this is what I do first. We'll disconnect that. So I'm generally pointed in the direction I want to go. So now that I'm going less than 1 miles an hour, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to turn on my switch.
Okay.
So light goes blue. So I'm logging there. So right now we're live, we're logging.
Good to go?
We're good to go. Green light on the GPS, which is good. And we're going to be running everything north and south, as close to my headings as I possibly can get. 3, 2, 1.
Blast off.
Huh.
21, 25, 30,
Yep.
32, 35. But what do you think the differences are here at Lake X with the freshwater compared to a saltwater?
Usually we see saltwater is about 1 mile an hour faster.
Okay.
This is of course freshwater, but again, a lot of the times the environmental conditions change that.
How about temperature?
We all know that in the cooler temperatures, especially, you'll be a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Usually.
Which is today.
Yeah, it's a little nippy today.
It is.
Beautiful day though, actually. It's perfect.
Okay. So now we're going to do wide open throttle run north. Okay.
See if the chase boat can keep up.
We'll see.
$39, $41, $43, $45, $46, 58, 50 RPM.
Yep. So it's
What's the max RPM on the
5,800.
We're right on it.
This is about all I'm going to get in this direction. I've tried to mess with the trim as best I can, individually and together. We're right at where we want to be propped, 5,800 RPM. So now we're going to do fuel economies, in gear idle, all the way up to wide open throttle in 500 RPM increments. Best trim in all scenarios. So right now I'm just in gear idle. And now, so that I don't have to use the levers to try to get my RPM as close as possible, this boat has a vessel view, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I will use cruise control. And I don't need to actually hit the right demand to get 1,000 RPM. It's just going to do it for me.
Really?
Yep.
And you can
So-
increase the increments through the vessel view?
All I want. So you'll see that here too. So I'm going to hit enable. So now I'm just going to push the throttle forward and it'll stop me at 1,000 RPM.
That is awesome.
And then once I see the speed evens out, our fuel economy stays pretty concise. It's not wildly changing. Once we get up to the cruise range, these engines have advanced range optimization. Some people call that lean burn. So what that is it's actually reading the amount of fuel that it's throwing into the engine and seeing the demand, and it's going to keep pulling back the fuel to keep your speed the same and see how little fuel we can give it
Oh wow.
to keep that speed.
Interesting. I didn't know the vessel view could do that. That's a
This
nice
is every vessel view.
that's a nice feature
It is.
just for offshore
Yep.
fishing. Actually, I was in Venice, Louisiana yesterday, and we were trolling, trying to get 6.5, 7 miles an hour of speed, and you know you're hitting the throttles, and you might end up at 9 or 8, and so just being able to hit it in incremental increases is huge.
So the other
Very
thing,
comfortable for something like that.
Correct. So the other thing is I've been on many of the owners' rendezvous, like CV does it, Marine Max does it, Whaler does it to the Bahamas.
Right.
There's people that have told me I saved 50 gallons of fuel getting over there because I used cruise control instead.
No way.
Wow.
Because you got to think, you're in 3s, 4s, 5s, whatever, and every time you hit a wave, that lever moves just a little bit.
Yep.
Every time you're moving the lever, you're changing the amount of fuel you're giving the engine. So if you can control it tighter with something like cruise control, you're going to save money.
Excellent. Yeah, so those long range trips, 100%.
Oh yeah. So you can see how much nicer this is that I can just set it.
That is excellent. Honestly, did not know that was a feature of the Vessel View.
Every Vessel View has it. I like the one on that boat actually.
Mhm.
Has the Vessel View 703. So instead of using the screen to touch it, you can have gloves on, you can have whatever. The knob changes
Oh,
your
yeah.
RPM. It's actually really nice.
Especially again when you're out there fishing and stuff like
Oh,
that,
yeah.
you might have
Gloves, dive
You know.
gloves, whatever. Yep.
fish residue and it's tough to hit the touchscreen.
Yep.
So
Or your hands are
a
wet.
manual, exactly. Yeah.
The other thing this is doing is making sure your data is as good as possible because you're not flexing it.
Right.
You're just giving it 2500. The computers do the rest.
Oh, of course, doing these tests and us trying to do them, there's always human error.
Right.
You know, so if you can avoid that as much as possible, obviously that information will be a lot more accurate. But I've been
And-
wanting to do this sort of thing forever, so this is super exciting
Well,
to see what this.
and that's what our whole goal was, to have the data logger connected. No
Right.
one's messing with a pencil and paper on
Yeah.
a clipboard. And you can always go back and look at this data, every parameter on the computer, which I will do later
This is
today.
also excellent information. Now Ken can give this to, you know, potential buyers and have an accurate layout of exactly what this boat
Yeah,
will do without, you know, the guesswork.
And,
Yep.
and having Mercury do it, it kind of evens the playing field.
legitimizes
When you
it.
go on a boat website, you don't know
Yep.
how they did it.
People
or how
can be
it's
fudging
calculated.
those numbers, which
Yeah.
And we post all of these with the OEM's consent to Mercury Marine's website so anyone can go see.
oh really?
Yep.
You have a full database of oh.
There's 200 plus in there. But again, we get the OEM's consent. So right now we're
That might be useful information for us.
It is.
So doing some of our videos actually instead of guessing on our own, going to Mercury and see what you guys actually got there. I'm
Yep.
gonna go look at that.
there's a link straight from the Mercury Marine website.
Now you guys know. You guys can check it out yourself
Yeah.
on the Mercury Marine website. So I'm definitely gonna jump on that when I get back to the office.
So we're on plane, but I tried to trim it at 3,000 RPM and it got a little slow. So no trim at 3,000, and I will write that on the performance report when I needed to trim.
Okay.
So right now, I definitely need trim.
3,500?
See, I'm starting to trim and I just gained a mile an hour.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do my best to get as much speed as I can based on the trim angle. So I over trimmed and I lost a mile an hour. Yep. Yep. Right there.
Right now we're about at 3,500 RPM.
3,500 RPM,
Playing with the
28.
trim about 9-10%.
Yep. 28 miles an hour. And then we're gonna go up to 4,000.
4,000 RPM. 32 miles an hour. 12% trim.
Yep. See? Mess with the trim, gain another mile an hour. So if you saw it originally, we were at about 1.9 miles per gallon. And then the engine saw we could give it less fuel. Now we're at 2.27 miles per gallon.
Yep.
That's where it really matters on the long trips.
Yeah, it's a significant increase. $4,500 RPM, 1.9 miles per gallon, 12 to 14% trim, 40 miles an hour, 42, 43 miles an hour, 5,000 RPM, 14% trim, 1.84 miles per gallon, 1.85.
Now.
48 miles an hour. 1.48 miles per gallon. Running out of runway.
That's all we got.
That gets shallow right up there, huh? Up the-
Yep. You can see the grass through the water.
How'd we do on that one?
How'd we do? What do you mean?
Top speed was it a little more? Or
That's not top speed. We're doing fuel
we didn't
economies
make it all-
right
we
now.
didn't make it.
No, we did. We're doing fuel economy.
Did we make it to all the way up to
Yep,
wide open?
5,500.
Okay.
Because we already did wide open
got it.
when we did the wide open run.
What were we spinning when we were wide open?
RPM?
Yeah.
This is propped perfectly.
Good.
5,800 RPM.
on the dot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, literally.
Yeah. So we got all the data that we needed on the twin 200 boat. Now I guess we're gonna switch boats, see how we do over there, and then we'll make it over to the boardroom and analyze both side by side. So learning a lot here today with some of the features that we have here with Mercury, and I think we're all gonna learn a lot when we get over to that boardroom. All right, so now we jumped off the twin 200 boat. We got on the single V10 400 boat, and we're gonna see what the differences are. It's gonna be very cool to see this. We've never really gotten into this much detail on any boat. Being able to do it with Andrew and his team here at Mercury Marine at Lake X really doesn't get any better than that. And as he mentioned before, head over to mercurymarine.com. You can check out the OEM approved analytics from all the performance numbers that they've actually gotten through their programming, their system, their software here, which is valuable information for you to know if you're looking to buy something. So it's pretty cool. I'm definitely going to check it out. Wanted to mention it again for you guys. So Andrew, now we're going to be doing the 0 to 35 test.
Correct.
All right.
Okay.
So let's have at it.
Okay, holding on. Engine straight. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Why is it listing?
That prop is definitely spinning one way.
What's that?
Is that from the prop torque?
The Seakeeper ride system?
That's
on or
off.
goes It's off, right?
Huh.
Is that just prop torque?
It might be.
Yeah. That's another thing we should talk about if we're gonna notice that.
It's also much easier just in the maneuvering, right? I didn't have to steer with the two engines because I could go in and out of gear. But this, to start again.
Well, because the twin engine setup has got a standard and a counter-rotating engine, correct? So they're kind of contradicting each other,
Correct.
pushing the boat straight. This one with the single prop on it.
Doesn't
and you
have
said
that.
it has a single 4-blade prop. It's the only one that they have here. So yeah, let's see. Let's give that another try.
Okay.
Gets up and goes though.
That's the prop
Yeah.
torque. What that
Powerful,
is.
but yeah, does seem like the
that
torque of
was
the
better
prop.
than I was expecting.
That's prop
I'm really it seemed almost about the same, or maybe a little
And
faster.
keep in mind, Seakeeper ride is off.
It's off.
Yeah, no-
So
tab at
there's
all.
no, and we're not trying to skew the data with that.
Yeah.
It's just
So yeah, the whole point, like you said,
Yeah.
you know, put an honest sea trial out there with the two options and see what they do. And again, just like Andrew mentioned a second ago, that's why you have Seakeeper rides
Systems like this.
and
Yeah.
zip wakes and
Or
systems like this to be
trim
able
tabs
to.
in general. So
Trim
right
tabs
now,
in general are going to help you obviously as well.
yeah, so right now we're basically running the boat without any trim tab
Nothing.
at
Nothing.
all. So
Okay.
this is my first time actually running the boat also.
this runs
This
awesome.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
right.
Okay,
nice.
so
Good
now we
feelings.
run fuel economies.
So starting off 1,000 RPM.
We did in gear idle already, but yeah.
Okay. Well, you can run 3.37 like this all day long.
There you go. And this is where you'll see it's really nice to just do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, the touchscreen is nice, but being able to have that to work with.
Something
I mean,
nice
it's
about
huge.
the old school volume knob.
Yep.
Which actually, if they have this wired, I'll have to ask Ken. Do you have, are you using the Fusion hub behind the dash on this?
No, just the Fusion
Okay.
MSRA 770.
So that's the nice part. You can actually control the volume with that volume knob too.
Yeah.
So
Oh, really?
there's audio up here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if we remember right, 3,000 RPM, we were running about 21 miles an hour on the twin V6 boat, no trim. It'll be intriguing to see what this
What the
boat does.
difference is, yep. Yeah, so we know a lot of people that do the high-speed trolling and things like that, that you know, 17 mile an hour, 20 mile an hour range is something they'll sit at. So those
Yeah,
numbers,
constantly.
yeah. You know, where the boat sits at plane, we'll be able to see it from the boat next door here. We got
Yeah, we can
2,500 RPM, 0 trim, and we're
Yep.
doing 11, 12 mile an hour basically.
Yep.
This
Not on
is
plane.
this is that awkward speed right here. Just before you're getting on plane.
All right, jumping up to 3,000. That gets us about 17, 18, 18.5 miles an hour, 3,000 RPM, 2.17 miles per gallon. Your night quad on plane, but
Yep.
pretty nice. That's that Wahoo high-speed trolling speed.
18 miles an hour.
So you can do that at 2 miles, 2.15 all day, not bad.
So we can talk about this once we get back in, but one thing I did notice so far, there's less bow rise on the single V10.
I think I noticed that a little bit too. Yeah.
There's less bow rise, and what's nice is this GPS is monitoring your pitch and roll at all times. So I can actually quantify
Whoa.
the differences.
That's amazing. At 3,500, we're at 26 miles an hour, 2.5 miles per gallon, 10% trim right now.
Yep.
I guess we'll see that cruise control mile per gallon, 2.45. That's
It's about the same.
right there. We'll see the next jump at the 4,000. 30 miles an hour, 2.27, 2.43 miles per gallon, 16% trim, 5,000 RPM, 23% trim, 1.86 miles per gallon,
5,500 RPM, 1.6, 1.65.
42.5 miles per hour,
And 6,000.
6,000 RPM, climbing to 47 miles an hour, 1.52 miles per gallon, 28% trim. But does like a little more trim. Is that due to the engine, you think, or the jack plate has something to do with it?
I'm wondering if it has to do with engine weight,
Engine weight?
because the more engine weight you have, the more your bow is up. More trim means you're trying to get the boat bow up.
We were running at a higher percent trim. What did you run the twin 200s on?
About 24% trim.
Oh, you got to 24?
Yep.
Okay.
What were you on with this one?
About 33%
Okay.
trim, so just a little bit more. But something to note.
Definitely plenty of power for this 25.
Yeah.
Runs nice. Gets up on plane quickly.
Oh yeah,
Curious to see the differences on the two.
this is going to be intriguing.
There's a lot of information there
The
to
next,
go through.
The next boat we're building is going to have your 225s on it. So
Yep.
Oh, that's
we
gonna
should
be
have brought all three. But maybe we'll
we can
try it
test
again.
that.
Yeah.
Well, definitely interesting. An interesting exercise. And Andrew, it's been fun hanging out with him here and kind of seeing all the information he knows and those little details that most of us don't even think about when considering a certain application. So you might have a little more drag with the twin engines, I would have assumed, but not necessarily, because the gear case on this one is quite a bit bigger than those are. So it might not be much of a difference, like Andrew mentioned, correct?
Yep. We can do the math and just do surface area, gear case, and water. That twin
When,
V6
when he
boat,
says we'll do the math, it means he'll do the math.
that's also true.
And let us know what it is, what the answer is. But excited to see what he gives us. So
Yeah.
So we're going to turn the Seakeeper ride on now, and we're
Okay.
going to see if that's going to
So
change
it
anything.
doesn't kick in until 8. I think I
Go ahead,
should
I'll
go
get
to 8
back
so
in.
it's engaged. Otherwise,
So where it was worse, remember, is when you just hammer it.
yeah. But it takes like 10 seconds to engage. Let's see. If I do it right now, if I go from 0 to nothing, it's probably going to be about the same. For
Give
the
it a
first,
shot.
Yeah.
See what it does.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I have to imagine it'll flatten it right out.
We're going to find out. Look at that. Definitely different. Better.
Yeah. Damn, this thing's pretty fast.
So trim it down to about, yep.
You
See,
like it
just-
down like that?
You gained a mile an hour when you trimmed it down.
Yeah. You touch the jack plate at all?
Don't touch it, that's where it's the best.
Yeah.
But if you go to about 31, 33 or so is where you're gonna get a best speed.
We didn't do any handling or turning.
We can do that.
Yeah. With the jack plate up, it might not be that. That might lose some. Hanging on, Alan?
Oh, he says hang on.
Oh, all right.
This thing bites good. It's not bad. I could have one a little tighter.
Oh yeah.
No slip at all. I like it. I don't know. I still think I'll go twins, but I just love your V10. Maybe a twin V10.
Twin V10 on this.
Yeah, why not?
All right, Andrew. Now that we got through all that, what are the next steps? What do we do from here?
So the next steps is we'll take the data off of the data loggers. We'll download them, put them into our computers, and then run the script. And we'll have the performance reports ready to compare side by side. So after we do that as well, we have to weigh the boats on our scales, and we'll get the center of gravity of both of them to make sure that they're as close as we can get.
All right, perfect. In the comments, before you guys make it any further, what do you think? Right now, so far, V10 400 or the twin 200s? Let us know.
So right now, as you can see behind me, they're pulling the 25 Bluewater out of the water. They're doing it with a travel lift. Besides being able to carry the boat out of the water, they can weigh the boat. We're weighing both boats to see what the differences are and where the center of gravity lies. So even though there's only about 200 pounds of difference of the twin 200 boat compared to the V10 400 boat, that weight is thrown all the way behind the transom. So it does affect things a little bit. It's going to be interesting to see what the data shows.
$18.1, 20.3. So right now, you can't just take the weight of the strap, because when you're measuring the weight of the strap isn't vertical. So you have to take the vertical component of that. So what we do is we measure the strap, we know the scale, and we know how much vertical weight there is, which is the weight of the boat. 20 exactly? 18.7. So now what we measure is, you pick a spot on the boat. We usually use from the end of the running surface.
Okay.
So for this boat, it's where the water exits the hull. So that's what we're going to take. And you measure to the center of the strap. So in this case, that's 32 inches. So that's our first dimension. And then you can hold it if you want. Here, the center of the strap.
Whatever you guys need.
Yeah, there you go. 19.5. Okay, so what that does is after we get the weights, that's going to tell us where the center of gravity of the boat is. Because if we don't measure where the straps are, we don't know. We just know the total weight.
Did that with this.
Yep.
With this travel lift.
So now, you see the scales up top.
Right.
So that's the weight, right? So that's 2,220 pounds, and then the front one is 1,560. Okay. Aft swing. 17.6. 17.6.
72. Oh, yeah.
29.4, and then go check the other side too. Go up a little. The rubber up.
You're backing up. That folds you.
So it's 19.85, 19.2. We're gonna measure from that spot
Yeah. Oh, cool.
to the center of the strap.
20. Yeah.
20.5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
That looks nice. You're gonna have big as it inside.
113.
113. So 113 plus 20.5.
All you like. And
133.5. Okay. Now weights. 2060. Front is 2340. Yep.
Back is.
So what this has is on the front, you'll see it has numbers, just like a ruler, right? So hopefully it's dark enough.
We'll be able to see that.
So this level has a laser on it. So you go right in front of the gear case as close as you can. So I'm gonna line up here. Down, right there. So right in front of the gear case. And let's see if we can see the laser or not. Oh, that's right there, right there. Yep. Can you see it?
Yeah. If we're pretty straight, 6 1/4.
So 6 1/4. So our height, what we call our engine height, most people just say, what are you on? Hole 2, hole 3, hole 4? That's really doesn't matter, because that doesn't tell you where the gear case is in the water. This does. Right. Because this is where the water is coming off of the hull, and as you get further and further back to a point, the water comes off and then starts coming up. So what this is telling us is actually where the gear case is in the water as you're running.
And where should it be in
So-
comparison to that running surface?
So usually the rule of thumb, that's where we start and we start setting up boats. Now you can go up or you can go down from here, is for every 10 inches back, you go up 1 inch. So now we just found out that you're at 6¼ inch high. So now you go from the end of the running surface to the front of the gear case. It's 38. Yep. So 38.5 back and 6¼ up. So it's a little higher than we would normally run, but this boat likes it here. So this is just when people ask, how high are the engines? Where should I set them up? That's where this is set up.
And we got it there through trial and error.
Yep.
We've been using this hull in the same bracket size for 20 years, so
Yeah.
we have it pretty dialed in.
Learning a lot out here. Good for everybody to know. Again, that rule of thumb,
Yeah.
an inch for every 10 inches. So if you have a 30-inch setback, you would have it 3 inches up. So that's the rule of thumb, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's where your boat's gonna like it. It's not gonna be the sweet spot necessarily. So you can always play with it going up or down. Every boat will be different. And you know, you heard it from the horse's mouth here, so very cool.
Yeah, this one's going to be a little different. I'm not going to be able to see it. Yeah, we're too much in the. Oh, actually, I can see it now.
I just saw it.
You know where it is?
The vertical line.
Yeah, that's all that matters. You know where it is? It's at the bottom of the ruler.
What is it?
It's right there. It's literally.
Oh yeah,
It's right there. It's right there.
Yep.
So it's at the bottom of the ruler.
9 inches, right?
That's high.
What have you seen with other single 400 applications?
This is higher than most, but you're not.
But we're far back.
You're not cavitating.
So you're 47 inches back.
What is it? What is it? The
47 inches
Oh.
back. So you're high on both boats, but you're both like it.
Yeah.
So, again, rule of thumb, that's not always the case. Yeah, that's even when you look from farther behind, farther back, you can see it's high. Yeah, which is true. But that's what the boat likes, so cool. I'll do is I'll put these numbers in, and it'll tell you the weight and the center of gravity of the boat.
That is awesome.
So, all right, cool. So this is weighed. We're done here. We'll drop it back in the water. That can go on the trailer, just like that one.
Ready to go? Okay,
And
perfect.
then we'll sit down in the conference room and go through it all.
Looking forward to it.
I already
Sounds
processed all the data. It's already there, so.
Too easy.
So that boat, as it sits, weighs 6,820 pounds, and the CG from the end of the running surface is 89 inches forward. Single V10. So single V10, it weighs 6,820 pounds, and the center of gravity from the end of the running surface is 89 inches forward. So that's just a good bogey. So going to, we know, V6 weighs more. The engines are obviously set back, right? So I'd expect that the CG is less than that because it's closer to the transom, and I'd also expect that it weighs more, right?
We're
You
not,
have two
we're not
engines.
subtracting for fuel or anything.
No, this is boat weight.
Okay.
Simple as that. But we had 3 people, me, us 3 on the boats at all times, right? So they were as close as we can get. So this is your single V10, 6820. Your dual V6, 7216. So just like we thought, it's about 400 pounds more. Because, well, you have 2 engines and you have a second battery for the other engine in the boat as well. So also the associated rigging, battery cables, whatever, right? So, and just like we thought, the center of gravity from the end of the running surface was 5 inches further aft. Passes the sniff test, this makes exactly what we expect. Okay, so now that we have the CG stuff in here, let's go to the meat and potatoes of it. What you see on the left is the single V10. Your top speed is 51.6 at 6,400 RPM. 0 to 30, which is my normal bogey that I go to, is 8.35 seconds. So just like we thought on the boat, the V6 accelerates much faster than we actually expected, like feeling on the boat, right? So it's 6.6 seconds to 30. And meanwhile, just like we thought, we're within 0.4 miles an hour on there.
Yeah.
Well, that's where it was. We did a couple of little drag races out there just to see
Yeah.
the twin engine boat pulled ahead, and it seems like it was just that, you know, that.
The acceleration
Acceleration out of the hole.
But then once you get up to the top speed,
Yeah, we were side by side.
Yeah.
We just stayed. I was able to get a little bit ahead, and then we kind of just stayed.
Yeah, I guess the weight difference between the 2 boats wasn't enough to give the single a little edge
That extra
on
boost.
the top end. Yeah, that's what we were thinking, but the weights are pretty close.
Very. I mean, the weights are exactly what we'd expect, 2 engines versus 1.
Yeah.
So, okay, then this is the next cool part. So here's your fuel economy data. Again, left is single V10, right is dual V6. I always highlight the cruise range. That's where most people would cruise, right, on a boat like this. Sometimes a little bit faster, that's fine. But yeah, 3,500 to 4,500 on both boats. So look at our cruise range, or our economy. 2.39, 2.34, 2.2. Now this is average both ways. That's what this is. And on the dual V6, 2.17, 2.17, 2.04.
Yeah.
So the
So-
single V10 was more efficient.
But at a lower speed.
But
Yeah.
at
No,
2
lower
to
speed.
3 to 4 miles an hour
Oh,
slower.
true. Yeah.
So if you look here, 26.6, 31, 35, 28, 34, 40. So yes, the V10 did have better fuel economy, but it's 3 to 5 miles an hour slower
Yeah.
in that same range.
Sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I own that boat and I like to cruise at 40. It just is like a comfortable speed for me. So I like to see that above 2. You know, the point 1, point 2 doesn't
Yep.
really make a difference to me on a day to day. So I like to see that. So on the V10 we were 35.
So on the V10, if you wanted to cruise at 40, right? So between 38 and 43, you know your fuel economy is going to be between those two numbers.
So about 1.9. So it's not that far off.
1.9 to 1.57.
Yeah.
And then same thing here. So if you wanted to cruise at 40, your dual V6 would be the option.
Yeah.
If you want to cruise at 40,
Mhm.
specifically.
Yeah.
And stay above 2 miles per gallon.
And stay above 2 miles per gallon, right? So this is where it gets a little more. So this is where I find it a lot more helpful. So I took both of these graphs and I put them on one. On the left-hand side, you have speed. On the right-hand side, you have fuel economy in miles per gallon. And the bottom, you have each RPM number, 600, 1,000, whatever. I cut it off above 5,500 because the max RPM of a 200 is 5,800 and the max RPM of the V10 is 6,400. So we don't care about those tops. But, so if you look here, of course, this is the secondary axis on the right. So you're at 3.5 miles per gallon and 2.5 miles per gallon. Who cares at idle? That's one thing. Where you really care here, right, is this 3,500 to 4,000. So your fuel economy, the blue line is the single V10. It's above the dual V6 at almost all nodes until you get to almost wide open throttle. And then same thing, this is what we just noticed in the speeds, right? The V6 is faster at all these RPM nodes. That's this gray line compared to the orange line. This is the data, single versus dual.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what you can use with customers, whatever, when they ask, what do you want? Well,
And you think the speed at those RPMs is from the 2 props versus 1? That's what.
and it's a long time saying, right, that there's no replacement for displacement.
Yeah.
So you have 2 V6s, 3.4 times 2.
Yeah.
So you have 6.8 liters and 12 cylinders. Versus a single V10, you have 5.7 and 10 cylinders.
All right. So I guess we have to try the V12 next.
This is the data. So as we try to answer the single versus dual, this is the data, right? But of course, everyone's answer of do you want a single or do you want a dual is going to be different. So what we tried to do is quantify it in an engineering way, or to actually ask the right questions. So what I'm going to do next, it's going to seem a little arbitrary, but these are your 10 important things about a boat that we brainstormed and came up with, single versus dual. So these metrics that I call them are ease and cost of maintenance. It's obviously going to be easier to do on a single than a dual, right?
Mm-hmm.
You also have the load on the engines and life expectancy. So those V6s, you have more displacement. They're going to last longer, also because they're just V6s. They're not a V10. You're not loading up the engines as much. So the dual engine wins. Redundancy and getting home. Obviously, you have 2 engines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the green ones here, come from performance testing. So where it doesn't really matter on top speed, we're within a half a mile an hour. No one's gonna cut hairs on that, right? So for that one, I'm just putting a 1 by which wins. Which one's better, right? So for this, we're just gonna go 0.5 and 0.5. Acceleration, the dual engine wins by a long shot, right? And then fuel economy, the single engine wins, but at slower speeds. So what matters? 0.5. They're both.
Depends who you ask.
Yes.
Yeah.
Depends. I mean, if you just want overall fuel economy, single. But if you want cruising faster, dual. So I'm going to do 0.5 on both of those as well. And then I just took a guess, but you're the boat builder. You can answer better than me. The upfront cost for a single is going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
Right. You have one less engine in your boat. So, of course, the single engine wins. But then you have transom space. If you're fishing off the back of the boat and you want more space, one engine in the middle takes up a lot less space than two.
Yeah.
Right? So the single wins. Now docking, we all know dual engines is easier. It's gonna win.
Sure.
And then the last one, boat stability and running attitude. To me, on this boat, and this is, again, now that we've had the chance to run both, which boat do you think runs better, slash steers better, slash takes off better, like we saw without Seakeeper Ride On? If you had to guess, I'm gonna let you guys answer this.
I think it was dual, hands down.
You think so?
Yeah, dual for sure.
I mean, I do too. So I just wanted to get
Yeah.
your opinion.
Yeah, it's cool. I guess the point when someone is in that position is that there are a lot of factors that go into making that decision, not just a little less cost or there's a lot that goes into it. It's very interesting to see it in an Excel spreadsheet like this, and I hope the people watching this down the road it opens their eyes a little bit. But yeah, I think that's a very good tool to give someone that's on the fence for sure to kind of see, hey, what's important to you and where does that put you at the end of the way?
And it's good to see for our boats that they run good with both. You're able to have an option for all those things and find out what works better for you.
Right.
So the whole kind of design and everything is compatible with a single.
With both?
one.
Definitely.
Yeah, I guess this whole list changes if you go even from a 23 to a 25.
It does.
Yeah.
So a 23, we had a 23, and we had a single engine on it, single 300 V8, and it was excellent. Wouldn't put twins on that boat. But a 25,
It's getting bigger.
just things. 27, completely different. So awesome. This was very interesting. I definitely appreciate that. We've been looking forward to this for a while. We were talking about it, and it's really cool to see it. And thank you very much for
So from you, let's get your review of the boats because you've ran a lot of boats. So what did you think? We said you're going to give your honest review, the good and the bad.
Honest opinion, I like both setups. If I didn't care about how I use the boat, bay boat, style, whatever, I do like the way that the V6 ran, the dual V6. That the steering, the acceleration was just completely different. As well as like you could have, we had how many people on it at one time? 6, but I bet you could put 10, 12 people on that and it would still be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So that I liked. The rigging in the boats, honest opinion, was phenomenal. I mean, it's up there in many of the other OEMs and manufacturers that I've worked with, both fit and finish inside the bilge as well as in the helm that most people don't look at. But that's up there. It's good.
Thanks.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I'm always a little bit apprehensive when I see bracket boats. To be honest, this is just bracket boats, but I like how yours run.
Yeah.
And I like that it's an Armstrong bracket. At least it's not just an off-the-shelf random.
Yeah.
So I like that you went with a good name there too.
Yeah.
So, but I like your boats.
Yeah, we've been bracket boats from day one.
I'm always apprehensive with them though, because you can do bad things with them.
Yeah.
you got to do it right.
Correct.
But yeah, no, thanks. We appreciate all the time today and from both of you guys coming all the way up here, and it's really great to see the facility. It's a lot of people come to our shop for tours, and it's like being a kid in a candy store. And
He's been excited about it. He told me.
That's how I felt here with all the extra stuff you guys have that I don't have access to. So I appreciate it.
It's cool everything that you provide the manufacturers, and I'd love to be able to even come up with other manufacturers and learn a little bit about their boats and put this information that again you guys have on mercurymarine.com. I've mentioned it a few times there. People should go look at that. I'm definitely going to look at it. Good information for manufacturers to have, and hopefully we can get out here again and do this, with some other brands as well. So thank you for having us out as well.
Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Pleasure. Yeah.
Ken.
So that concludes our sea trial day with Bluewater Boats, the 2 different models at Mercury's Lake X. It's a little bit of a long video, but a very informative one, and that was the idea today, to learn as much as we can about the 2 configurations, the pros, the cons, and what would guide someone to go one way or another when they go to purchase. So we hope you guys enjoyed it. My name was Alan with Center Consoles Only. Drop any comments or questions you may have, and we thank you for following us along as always.